for another look on a high-profile race we've been watching closely.
Chris, thanks a lot. You know, that one was a little more predictable, the governor's race, at least. This is the one that was a little harder to predict. The most competitive race last night was the Republican race for Texas Attorney General. Had a lot of eyes on it. Polls showed that Ken Paxton was always likely to be in a runoff. The polls turned out to be true. What we didn't know for the longest time is which of his three competitors would make the runoff. Here is almost final numbers from the Texas Secretary of State's office. 93% of the precincts reporting statewide. George P. Bush, the outgoing land commissioner of Texas, he was neck and neck all night with Eva Guzman, the former Supreme Court justice in Texas. He ended up late last night pulling away, and early this morning we saw him really distance himself. George P. Bush will be in the May 24th runoff with Ken Paxton. The big question is, can Paxton hang on, or does everyone get behind Bush and try to defeat Paxton? Paxton clearly has a solid base of supporters on the right. On the George P. Bush side, he has a good organization. He has the name as well, too. I guess one of the questions is going to be whether indeed Texans want to elect another Bush, another generation of Bushes, which are so well known here in Texas. One of the issues is, I just mentioned a moment ago, is we didn't get results on this until a couple of hours because of some big polling problems in Harris County. Houston, the largest, most populated county in the state. They had issues down there. Not surprising because they have had them in the past. Cleo Green watching that for us this morning.
Yeah, Jason, you were here, a little after 10 o'clock last night, and we were still waiting for those votes to come in. As Jason said, we've been tracking those voting delays out of Harris County all night long, and it really put a damper on the Republican race for Attorney General here. Ken Paxton and George P. Bush now in a runoff. Now, if I click on Harris County, which is the largest county in Texas, we have been waiting for those votes to trickle in. Here's the deal. They were dealing with some delays out there because those ballots are physically injected into a machine and they got jammed up like a paper jam here. So around 5 o'clock this morning, they were at about 59% of reporting, and right now they're at 59 still. So they're moving slowly here, and that's where we're seeing the issues here, waiting for those votes to still come in. All right. Back to the delays. This is the first time that we actually got to see some live video from inside of those voting centers. Now, this live feed shows people still working in Harris County, right? It's 6 o'clock in the morning here. They've been there all night long. Now, this is new this year due to new election laws. We can actually see what's going on inside of those count centers. The election administrator says that the machines, they did get jammed up and they're going to be flagged and they're going to be reviewed, but every vote will still count, of course. And closer to home in Tarrant County, well, there were some problems that put workers in a jam there as well. They had some mechanical issues, a computer issue there, but it looks like everything is well this morning. No one in that election office, no one counting any ballots there, so things are all good now in Tarrant County. Now, those issues and delays did not put a damper at all in the race for governor. I'm going to show you numbers county by county in our big four here. So Greg Abbott, I mean, he really remained the same in all of our big four here. So the numbers out of Denton County, about 61% for Governor Greg Abbott. Collin County, 59%. Let's go down to Tarrant County at 66%, and then Kaufman County at 68% as well. Ooh, let's go here to Dallas County at 65% for Governor Greg Abbott. Let's show you the Democratic ticket here, because Beto O'Rourke, I mean, he won by a landslide in our big four. So I'll show you the numbers here. 93% in Dallas County. Let's go on over to Tarrant County at 93% as well. I mean, look, there was no competition at all for Beto. Let's go up to Denton County at 95% and end here. Did we end here already? In Collin County at 95% as well for Beto O'Rourke. So still tracking those voting delays coming out of Harris County, but I'll send it back to you, Jason.
All right, Cleo, thanks so much. Keep checking the bottom of your screen for the latest election results that have been coming in all night, overnight. Let's look at some other races here. The 3rd congressional district race. This is most of Collin County and all of Hunt County. It's a solid Republican seat, and the Republican Van Taylor, a current congressman seeking a 3rd term. Let's take a look at these results right here. This shows that Van Taylor will go into a runoff. He had been getting by without a runoff, which was kind of surprising to a lot of folks, considering he had 4 different candidates, 3 of which we're showing you on screen. But now it looks like with 100% of the precincts in overnight, he only got 49%. You need 50% plus 1 to get over that threshold and avoid a runoff. It looks like Van Taylor is going to face the former Collin County Judge Keith Self in the May 24th runoff there. Let's look at Dallas County. This is the Congressional District 30. This is the seat from which Eddie Bernice Johnson is retiring after holding the seat since 1993. A crowded field of candidates wanted to replace her. 9 candidates were on the ballot here, and this is kind of shocking considering 9 candidates on the ballot, and you had one, Jasmine Crockett, who is the handpicked successor to Eddie Bernice Johnson. She almost got to that threshold of 50%, which is unbelievable considering so many people are on the ballot. She will, though, go into a runoff against Jane Hope Hamilton. Clearly, Jasmine Crockett has a huge lead on that, and she's likely the favorite to go into the November election. That's a solid Democratic seat. Here's a big upset last night, depending on which side you're looking at. Betsy Price, she lost her race. This is the Republican race, not the Democratic race. The Republican race for Tarrant County Judge over there, the most senior position in Tarrant County. Betsy Price, the former mayor of Fort Worth, lost to Tim O'Hare, the former mayor of Farmers Branch. Tim O'Hare is also the former chairman of the Republican Party in Tarrant County as well, too. That was a big upset, a lot of people thought, because Tim O'Hare got crushing numbers against Betsy Price. It was like 57% to 34%. That's a huge gap.
She had the name recognition, but when it came out to turnout, his folks showed up.
He got the vote out at the end of the day, and that's what counted, and it clearly showed that he was the winner there.
And sticking with Tarrant County, something I thought was interesting that maybe our viewers aren't aware of. When we talk about these issues you've seen at the polling locations, we've heard a lot about voter fraud, voting laws. So specifically, you told me something about who's actually running the ballots.
Yeah, keep in mind, the primaries are run by the parties themselves because the parties want to nominate the people who are actually going to be on the ballot in November. So the parties are in charge of their own primary elections. So if there was an issue feeding a sheet of paper into the machine last night on the Republican side, it's the Republican Party who's responsible for that. Same thing for the Democratic side. If some of their ballots got chewed up inside the machine, it's on them. Come November, the general elections, those are the ones actually run by the county, so that's a little different. We're likely to hear more complaints in November about issues at the polls. But not so right now with the primaries.
Biggest surprise when it's all said and done about what we saw yesterday?
I think that the Attorney General's race, Ken Paxton, the poll showed they were correct. Paxton did not have enough support because of all the troubles he's having legally to get over that 50% threshold. He's going to face the runoff of George P. Bush. Is Paxton in trouble? No candidate wants to go into a runoff at all because we saw David Dewhurst 10 years ago, the lieutenant governor then. He got defeated by Ted Cruz. 10 years ago, no one knew who Ted Cruz was. I'd been covering politics for 12, 14 years in the state. I didn't know Ted Cruz. He comes out from behind 10 years ago, defeats this big incumbent. And that's a big lesson learned for a lot of politicos, and it's one that Ken Paxton is certainly keeping an eye on.
Okay, very interesting. And you can catch Jason, too, on Yalitics, and then you also have your Sunday show as well. Inside Texas Politics. I know you watch every morning. I do. I usually watch the next day, but yes, I do. Online. You can watch it. I know, you do. At WFAA.com.
Yeah. Been about 24 hours worth of work for this guy, in addition to all the work that led up to yesterday. So again, thank you for showing up today to give us a little bit of clarity. We are looking ahead to the general election. That's Tuesday, November 8th. So of course you will hear a lot more about the candidates in the months ahead.